Some people say there's something in the water when you visit Florida. The amount of criminals and news headlines is a different tier compared to other states. Today we're going to talk about the most dangerous women in Florida and what crimes they committed. Boynton Beach, Florida. A woman tries to kill her husband in a murder-for-hire situation. She was recorded on camera by Boynton Beach police in 2009 discussing plans to hire a hitman with a friend, and then meeting with an undercover police officer posing as a hitman to discuss killing her then-husband, Michael DiPolito. Police cameras were again rolling on August 5, 2009.
Disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed.
DiPolito arrived home to find what she thought was a real crime scene of her then-husband's murder. In fact, it was an elaborate fake crime scene created by Boynton Beach police. It was there that they recorded her emotional reaction as officers told her he was dead. By then, officers had already removed Mike DiPolito, very much alive, from the home. They took Dalia Dilo to the police station under the guise that they needed her to tell them whom she thought might be behind the killing. Now in 2025, is at Lowell, and while serving out her prison sentence, DiPolito has been leading a Bible study group behind bars, and some say she is respected behind bars. Next is Marion County, Florida. Amber did not beat, shoot, burn, or dismember her 15-year-old ex-boyfriend Seth Jackson in 2011. But the 19-year-old defendant did lure him to a Summerfield home where 5 others murdered him. Seth and Wright began dating as 14-year-olds, and Amber cheated on Seth with Michael Bargo. Seth and Bargo had fought sometimes physically in the weeks before Seth's murder. Knowing Seth still loved her, she lured him to the house with a promise of a reconciliation. Knowing he would be murdered, 5 young people beat and eventually shot the teen. A neighbor testified that he saw someone run out of the house around 9 or 9:30 that night. Several men followed that person, beat him up, and dragged him back inside. After Seth was murdered, 5 young people burned Seth's body in a backyard fire pit after he had died. The young people then put Seth's remains in 3 5-gallon paint buckets and then drove to a lime rock quarry to ditch the buckets the following day. Amber and her co-defendants were sentenced to life with no parole. Winter Park, Florida. A woman traps her boyfriend in a suitcase and leaves him for dead overnight. Sarah Boon took the life of her boyfriend by keeping him in a suitcase and hitting him with a baseball bat so he couldn't escape. Her testimony: Sarah Boon said she was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and moved to Florida when she was 3 years old. Between the ages 17 and 25, her grandparents and parents had passed away. Sarah got married her first husband, Brian, in 2004 and divorced him in 2007. Sarah had her son Lucas in 2010. Sarah met Jorge after her divorce with Brian, but she lied to Jorge. Her and Brian were still married. Brian eventually said he divorced Sarah because of Jorge and her excessive drinking. Sarah said she got little support from Brian, and that is a lie because Brian paid her phone bill, rent, and $1,000 in alimony each month. The day of the murder. Sarah said she did chores that day because spring cleaning, but after reviewing pictures, the house was still a mess. Sarah then goes to Publix and gets alcohol and starts her daily drinking. Sarah says she spent most of her day on the back porch, smoking and drinking because smoking wasn't allowed in the apartment. This has also been determined as a lie, because there is pictures of ashtrays with cigarette butts inside multiple rooms of the house. Sarah said that her and George drank a whole bottle before they went back inside. Sarah and Jorge begin to play hide and seek. Sarah begins to look for Jorge. At this time, both of them were pretty tipsy and feeling the effects of the alcohol. Sarah found Jorge hiding in a suitcase. Lid closed, but the suitcase was unzipped. Then Sarah admits to zipping the suitcase. She started wheeling him around like she was transporting luggage. Then Sarah flopped the suitcase over with the lid pointed down. This is the recording.
Sarah. Everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. Fuck you. Sarah. Fuck.
The family of George Torres finally was rewarded justice today. Sarah Boon was found guilty for murder in the 2nd degree, and she was sentenced to life in prison after she rejected a 20-year plea deal. Only 3 women are currently on death row in Florida, including Tina Brown of Pensacola, who is attempting to appeal her sentence for the horrific murder of Adriana Zimmerman. who was shocked with a stun gun, beaten, and set on fire. Here's a look at the women of death row. Tina Brown, 52, arrived on death row in October 2013 for the brutal murder of her neighbor, 19-year-old Audriana Zimmerman. Brown, with help from a friend and her then 16-year-old daughter, Brittany Miller, ambushed Zimmerman in a trailer, attacked her repeatedly with a stun gun, gagged her, stuffed her in the trunk of a car, drove her into the woods, beat her with a crowbar, doused her with gasoline, set her on fire, and left her to die. Despite being severely burned, Zimmerman managed to walk to about a third of a mile to residence and seek help. She reportedly named her attackers and asked EMTs to protect her children.
911. What's going on out there?
Somebody started burning up. Her this lady on the car right now.
Do what?
She burnt all up. You gotta see when she burnt. Somebody probably set the car on fire or something. I don't know. She just come out of the woods to my house.
She died in a burn ward 16 days later. Although Brown has not denied her involvement in the murder, she has sought to have her conviction and sentence overturned in a series of appeals. Brown is now sitting on death row awaiting for her death. This is Florida's most infamous inmates. Please leave a like and comment, and see you on the next one.